Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just start by saying that spectrum decisions are often driven by the amount of proceeds that a particular bill might raise rather than policy, which concerns me. When I authored Mobile Now and in working with Ranking Member Cruz on this Spectrum Pipeline Act of 2024, I've always focused on getting the policy right, not on how much money the bill would raise. And so I would just ask each of the panelists, and be simple yes or no, should spectrum policy be driven by the dollar sign certain legislation could raise? Dr. Ghosh.
No, it should be for the user capabilities.
No.
No for security.
Right.
No.
No, all the receipts should go to the U.S. Treasury.
So, Mr. Furgot-Roth, could you elaborate on the specific harms that allowing spending priorities to dictate spectrum policy?
Yes, Senator. The important thing about spectrum policy that we've been discussing today is to get spectrum from the federal government to the private sector, or to protect spectrum that's in the federal user. But the auctions are all about getting spectrum to commercial users as quickly and expeditiously as possible. Spectrum policy shouldn't be focused on how much we can get to some specific activity. I think Congress does that through the Appropriations Committee. That should be the way it operates. If you think about it, today, we have approaching a $36 trillion deficit. If you could find $100 billion a day, $100 billion a day, you could not pay off the federal debt in a year. We just have this massive debt. How are we going to close it?
Well, let me just, that's a subject that I'm interested in, but probably not for this conversation. But in my view, the United States need to make more mid-band spectrum available both for commercial licensed and unlicensed uses to maintain our global competitiveness. It's clear to me that the Biden administration is not taking our mid-band spectrum deficit seriously, while China and our rivals are freeing up this crucial spectrum. The President's national spectrum strategy commits to freeing up 0 megahertz of spectrum, not a single megahertz. Mr. Furgot-Roth, is there any urgency that you see from this administration to make more spectrum available for commercial use? And then just as a follow-up to that, how important is it then for Congress to act and provide a real spectrum implementation plan?
Senator, I think the two can work together. I think there's some positive elements in the Biden administration spectrum policy, but the timelines are much too broad. They need to be tightened up, and there needs to be some identification of spectrum that's going to be in the pipeline by a date certain. And that's why I think that the bill you've co-sponsored on the Spectrum Pipeline Act of 2024 is an excellent bill and moves everything in the right direction.
Ms. Brown, I was supportive of and pushed the PI FCC to make the 6 gigahertz band available for unlicensed use. This order fulfilled an important mandate of the Mobile Now Act, which recognized the role both licensed and unlicensed spectrum play in the communications landscape. During the most recent World Radio Communications Conferences, it was reported that China and Huawei were working against the United States to reverse the progress made on 6 gigahertz. Could you elaborate on how this played out and how moving forward, or I should say, and moving forward, what steps should the United States take to ensure we're leading the world in wireless advancements?
Well, thank you, and thank you for all your support of unlicensed through the years, including the most recent Spectrum Pipeline Act and your discussion of advanced Wi-Fi. China has been opposing U.S. industry efforts to open the upper 6 gigahertz band from the day the FCC made its decision in April 2020. We have encountered Huawei and Chinese interest in every country in every proceeding that has looked at the 6 gigahertz case. That culminated in November and December of this past year at WRC, where China attempted a spectrum grab. They tried to use the WRC decision-making process to basically tell the world, you will not use the upper part of the 6 gigahertz band for unlicensed. You will not even have that discussion. You will only use it for exclusive licensed mobile use. That is not what happened, thanks to U.S. leadership at the conference. We ended up with a resolution whereby the countries of the world could decide for themselves, based on their own strategic objectives, what they wanted to do with the upper 6 gigahertz band. And that means that U.S. industry can continue to go country by country to try to influence national regulation and come up with a harmonized approach to the 6 gigahertz band. Going forward, we're going to need help from the administration, and we work very closely with the trade organizations within the USG to try to use those levers to help us as we go around the world.
Well, thank you all very much, and I would just argue, Madam Chair, that it's time to reload the pipeline, and I think you all have testified to that today, how important that is on so many levels. So I hope we can get moving on legislation that would bring some certainty and clarity to the issue. Thank you.